Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, guys, so I wanted to revisit a very old topic. The cool thing about bringing up old subjects that I've spoken about before is that I'll go and have a lot of consultations with people and learn more of the effect or the by-effect of intermittent fasting. So I actually have real live subjects to refer to in my stories with everything when it comes to your health, not just ketogenesis, but because I'm dealing with so many people with metabolic damage and autoimmune disorders that I have like all these like huge bank of information from different ethnicities and body sizes and shapes and ages and athletic level and people with injuries. It's quite fascinating. But let's get on to the intermittent fasting. And before I do that, I've got to say that I've got what? Energy, 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 energy. Yes, I got some energy. And I'm going to remind people in all my videos that I'm 48, soon to be 50. I've got a busted knee. I can't run, jump, lunge, or squat. Yet I maintain a low body fat percentage to give people who are getting older into that middle age time that you can still keep going. You can still keep crack-a-lacking and feeling awesome. Okay. So before, I've mentioned in a million videos, don't intermittent fast. I'll say something like, oh, it's not healthy, you develop food addictions, and I'll just say, you mention things like thyroid, but let's put it together. So this is like a new revised video on intermittent fasting or refeeding or carb night or any of this crap. So basically, a lot of people who intermittent fast, they don't do it to kind of detox the liver and kidneys. They do it because they want to drop weight, which to me, dropping weight is bad because you could drop muscle weight and you could be catabolic, and that's doing nothing except being unhealthy. So what we want to do is intermittent fast for those reasons of dropping unnecessary body fat, and also very important, that visceral fat that you guys started to collect over time from being so unhealthy, having adrenal issues and poor diet and poor sleep. So visceral fat, subcutaneous fat, we really need to know the difference. You know, women can have a higher body fat percentage, but as long as it's all about the visceral fat when it comes to total health. Now, for aesthetic reasons, yes, people want to lose body fat to feel more healthy, and a lot of people probably need to because that higher percentage of body fat is going to affect your visceral fat. So people will try to intermittent fast to, like, they don't understand the biology of it, they just want to lose weight. So that's the problem. If you're just losing weight, you're not getting healthy, you're becoming more unhealthy because you're probably losing a lot of muscle. And so when you lose a lot of muscle through the breakdown of amino acids and proteins, that's catabolism, that's your body breaking down. That's starvation, and if you do it too much too soon, you could go into starvation mode. So that's about the first 30 days of trying to just not eat, is your body goes into starvation mode and it becomes metabolically locked. The body's like, oh, you're not going to feed me? The muscles are, you're not going to feed me? Well, I'm going to slow you down. I'm going to make you so tired. I'm going to make it so if you try to do a 3-hour workout or try to do a marathon, you're going to feel like arsh. Boom. Yes, you're not going to feel very well. So, some people are so convinced that fasting is the only way that they can drop their weight that they don't realize, they go through this kind of like, what is this kind of like starving euphoria. I'm not eating and therefore I feel clean. I feel like I'm detoxing. Yes. I feel fantabulous. I've got energy. Now perhaps some of you are starting to fast because you've gone from high processed foods. And so the fasting process, yes, your detoxification organs are going to go from Panda Bear Express and McDonald's to none of that, right? To very, very limited amounts of foods and whatnot. And then people's insulin response drops and they feel that their numbers improve. But then, boom! The body rebounds. So that reaction of feeling good because you are not eating or you're eating very little is for a short, tiny, infinitesimally small period of time. That's why everybody on diets rebounds. Not everybody, but a lot of people rebound, and when they rebound, lost this much weight, gained this much back, and then they try to hold that steady. Some people actually develop better health habits, why they don't gain back all the weight, but most of you guys gain back all the weight plus more. So, don't fast. Let's go down to the mechanics of what's going on when you fast. And you might think, but Stephanie, you fast, and I do and I kind of don't. So let's break it down. So when you try keto, you're not in ketosis. You think you are because you see purple on the urine strip, because the urine strips are ketones wasted. That's why you need a glucometer. And not only do you need a glucometer, you need to know how to use it. You need to know how to test your glucose, or else all of this stuff could be in vain. So, you try keto, you try to adapt, you get your macros, you go to bed early, you got your blue blockers, you got your magnesium, you got your fat over 200, you got your protein under 100, and you should also do a journal, and you're starting to use ketones. Problem is, you ain't using enough of them. The body, it takes time for the body to really understand how to use ketones, because we are primed and conditioned, like I said in the beginning of this video, to use glucose. So we're always going to make glucose. We know how to make glucose through gluconeogenesis. We need it for our red blood cells, but it's in a very small amount that we actually need glucose for our red blood cells. But with that said, because you're primed and conditioned to be stress mongers, because the body doesn't know we're in the modern time, then people are adrenaline addicts, which is coupled by cortisol, which can last in the system up to 9 hours, evenly creating more sugar for the body. So people, I'll do this coaching, and you'll see people with like great numbers for like 10 days, and they feel great, and then out of nowhere, wham! The sugar spikes. And they have no idea why. Which is why in my last video, you might want to consider organic acid testing. You want to see what's going on with your neurotransmitters. You want to see what's going on with your colon and your gut. And you want to see what's being wasted through the urine. Because you don't know what's going on the inside. You don't know if you have any type of overgrowth or histamine issue or a malabsorptive issue. And I will always be redundant because that's what the problem is. You don't have to be dying from cancer to have issues in all those three areas: neurotransmitter, colon, and losing things. So right when your body is trying to find balance, a couple upsets on the inside of your body, because there's like a city, like inside of your body, it's like New York. It's like Tokyo. All these things and metabolic processes are going on. You have all these enzymatic responses. You have no idea that it doesn't matter if your days look exactly the same. Your body is not the same from day to day. Something as simple as low sunlight, right? Or the winter time where you're getting less D can affect the entire body. And as we know about people realizing that eating too much protein spikes their glucose, even a few bites can send you over that edge in your keto adaptation. For me, too much protein, definitely a glucose response. For me, powdered proteins, even my lovely, amazing grass-fed gelatin, Great Lakes, too much of that, boom! Not only does my glucose spike, but all of a sudden I have an insulinogenic effect, and that insulin sensitivity now is going to work against me. Because now my body just has this shot of sugar into the bloodstream, and then insulin is secreted and it takes it out quickly, because now insulin does its job even better than it's ever done before, and then I start to crash. That doesn't pop me out of ketosis, but it's a bad cycle. So when it comes to refeeding or fasting, these are some of the things that you have to consider. When you do not eat, you must be highly adapted. Unfortunately, that can take up to a year, at least 6 months. I said 3-month chunks because the first 3 months, it doesn't matter if you're making ketones and your glucose is low, your body will go back and forth to still want to use glucose, which is why I say do a journal. If you're not journaling your numbers, you'll forget. You won't realize that you're not highly adapted because most of the time your numbers are good. Here's the thing. If you decide, oh, my numbers are good, or I feel great, because a lot of people are like, I feel great, I feel fabulous, I want to fast. Almost nobody fasts because they really want to cleanse their organs. Most people fast because they want the business, right? They want to get lean, and they want to feel young again, because that's really what being lean is subconsciously to people. So they want to drop the body fat, or they want to drop weight, and they run into the problems of the brain's like, I'm not really using ketones yet. I use a little bit. My ketones are at a 0.9. And now you're not eating. So when you first go into ketosis, your body's using a lot of the dietary fat, converting that as ketones. Now, the whole point is to test your ketones fasted in the morning, because if you're not eating all night long, in theory, you should be breaking down body fat and using that as ketones, right? Converted through the liver. The problem is you still don't use that much body fat. You don't. You can have amazing glucose numbers that are low, and you can have ketone numbers around a 1, and still that's not enough. Or you could even have ketone numbers at a 3, which is like a great number, 3.0, and you could lose things because we don't know if we're malabsorptive. And that's why things take time to heal from metabolic damage. So when you start not eating and you're just like, I'm going to get up and I'm going to have bulletproof coffee and I'm not going to eat all day long, the brain does not know how to make ketones yet, guys. That's a fact. I'm sorry. So what's going to happen? Your body's going to the adrenal glands are going to be forced to push out adrenaline, right? Because you know, even though our bodies are still hunter-gatherer bodies, we're not living in that reality. We're go, 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 go. You still have to get through your entire day, and women suffer this the most because they don't know how to shut it off when the sun goes down. They just keep cranking it up. And that's why I call people adrenaline junkies. So when you fast, you essentially are driving that adrenaline junkie problem that catabolizes your body even more. So people have two reactions, or three. They either start fasting and they're not hungry. That's one. That's very rare because sometimes the more you move and you're not in ketosis, the more the brain will say, please eat something. The other thing is that people are hungry and they're too busy to notice, or sometimes when people fast, they'll see like a spike in their ketones, but eventually you'll have a rebound effect and your glucose will go from low back to high. So if you're not using enough ketones, because ketones can easily be wasted or they don't get into the cell, even the blood values can be subjective because we don't know how things are working in the cells. That's the important thing to understand. So when you don't eat for 5 to 10 days and you have low carb and you refeed, right, in that type of cyclic ketosis, then you send your body fills with water, and then you have this metabolic like backlash. You feel awful. You need to have the right potassium-sodium balance. But I want to go back to the fasting part of it. The thing that ends up happening is that the body tends to go into starvation mode when you're not ready. So in the beginning, you dump a lot of water. That's subjective. You step on the scale, you're like, but I've lost weight. Why? Which is why weight is so subjective. You really want to journal your energy levels and your appetite, and your ketones and your glucose, and just, oh my gosh, I'm running out of time. This is what's important, you guys. You can create more leptin issues if you intermittent fast. You can create thyroid. That's the big one. A lot of you guys tend to have your hair starts to shed, and it may take a month before you even notice, but you don't want to fast too soon. You want to adapt first, and then when you finally keto adapt after months and months and months of holding a steady keto adaptation, then you can eat breakfast and skip lunch and have dinner. But that's going to take a long time. Okay, guys, if you want to learn more, go to StephaniePerson.com, Stephanie the Business Person on my Facebook fan page, or Stephanie Ketogenic on my Instagram. And now I'm on Periscope. So go to it's Steph the Business with a Z That's it. Steph the Business is connected to my Twitter.